down because Trump he declared that's a bad deal after it was negotiated with the other side.
But didn't that deal also involve amnesty, and didn't that deal also involve a significant number of illegal aliens being allowed into the country every year? I think it was 2 million people. So it was still the same sort of situation, and their fear is exactly what I talked about, that these people will be moved to swing states, and that will be used to essentially rig those states and turn them blue forever.
Well, I'm not really sure if that's what's in play. I think it's really it's important that we have to have an honest conversation.
But doesn't that seem logical, though? If you have a significant number of people that are being moved into swing states that have come across the border illegally, and then you've provided them with all these services, you provided them with food stamps, EBT, you've provided them with housing. You could, if you gave those people amnesty and allowed those people to vote, and it was very organized. You're talking about 75,000 votes over a few counties that switched everything over to the Republicans. You could see how you import 10 million people over the course of 4 years illegally, and then move a significant number of them to swing states, and then provide them with all these services, and then give them a path to citizenship. You could essentially rig those states.
This is something that Republicans have been saying for a long time, right? It's so baffling. Joe Rogan on one of the biggest podcasts, he touched upon this, and I think this is why a lot of people like to trust Rogan. It's because Rogan's not here trying to pick sides. He's just trying to lay out the information and say, hey, look, this is what these people are claiming. How would you push back against it? And these people, they can't. Joe Rogan's correct, right? And Joe Rogan's correct. This is the unauthorized migrant population since 2021. Since Biden took office, look at the numbers. Look at the increase of migration populations into these counties: Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Arizona, Nevada, Michigan, Wisconsin. This is an attempt essentially to gain and solidify Democrat control of politics. This is how you get one-party rule. And this is how I verify my claims, right? If one person say, hey, look, this political party has a vested interest in allowing illegals to come in, and I look at their actions, this is the only thing that makes logical sense of why a party who's elected by American citizens, who American citizens pay all the taxes for, all the government benefits, are giving these same services and benefits to illegal immigrants who don't have the ability to vote for them, who don't actually pay taxes to them. And how they have so much influence in our politics is because these people see it as a means of an end to solidify their control over the country, to increase their electoral votes. Republicans been sounding the alarm for years. And what does Democrats do in their usual fashion? Be dismissive. Here's a clip that I share from a video that I did about the Inconvenient Truths when I was doing my Inconvenient Truth series. And this is a clip from my video of Inconvenient Truths of Open Borders.
As late as 2006, there were still liberals who cared about the economic effects of immigration, legal or illegal. Immigration reduces the wages of domestic workers who compete with immigrants, explained economist Paul Krugman in the New York Times. We'll need to reduce the inflow of low-skilled immigrants. Mainly that means better controls on illegal immigration. That same year, Senator Hillary Clinton voted for a fence on the Mexican border. So did Barack Obama and Chuck Schumer and 23 other Senate Democrats. Not anymore. 20 years after Bill Clinton told Americans they had the right to be upset about illegal immigration, his wife scolded the country for enforcing border controls. So what changed? Not the economics of it. The law of supply and demand remained in effect. It's not a coincidence that as illegal immigration surged, wages for American workers stagnated. What changed is that Democrats stopped caring about those workers, about the middle class, really. Why? Here's the answer in 4 simple facts. 1. According to a recent study from Yale, there are at least 22 million illegal immigrants living in the United States. 2, Democrats plan to give all of them citizenship. Read the Democrats' 2016 party platform. 3, studies show the overwhelming majority of first-time immigrant voters vote Democrat. 4, the biggest landslide in American presidential history was only 17 million votes. Do the math. The payoff for Democrats? Permanent electoral majority for the foreseeable future. In a word, power.
That video was a year ago. Look, Inconvenient Truths about Open Borders 1 year ago, only 39 views. I was a lot smarter channel back then, but I grew a lot within a year. And literally everything I laid out here is pretty much the logical case of why Democrats have such a strong interest in having illegal immigration, right? And Cesar Chavez 50 years ago is a biggest example of why Democrats have shifted a lot from this issue. It's from the fact that these guys have a vested interest, and the interest is clear. If you're an undecided voter, if you're in the middle voter, this is why they don't want mass deportation. This is why Democrats, they have, look, as much as the lip service they give you, I gave you the rational, logical reasoning for why the Democrats are against mass deportation and why they're pro amnesty. 2016, since 2016, they've been running on this issue. And you think they're working in the best interest of Americans? It's a hell no. Hell no. Right? And this is why John Fetterman couldn't even push back against what Joe Rogan was saying in the interview. And imagine a dude that went through a stroke, John Fetterman, was able to go do an interview with Joe Rogan, but Kamala Harris, who's, in my view, relatively seemed to be fully healthy, could not go to Joe Rogan. And it shows you that this lady has not really truly changed her positions from 2019. 2019, this lady was the most progressive, the most liberal senator in Congress. Old habits die hard. She has not shown an ability. She has not even clearly give a full, clear understanding or reason for why she changed her positions, her so-called positions. All you get is anonymous campaign spokespeople for her campaign telling her that, yeah, she changed on this issue. She's for this now. She's for that now. But you can't find any clips out of her own mouth saying that she changed her position and why. And this is the problem that I had with Kamala Harris and why I didn't vote for her. Because at the end of the day, I know what I'm getting with Trump. With Kamala Harris, I don't know what I'm getting. And even if I do know, based on her track record, based on her habits, based on her 30 years of service in the government, I already know who she is. Because your actions speak louder than your words. And looking at her 30-year track record, I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'm good off that. I see RFK over there. I see Tulsi Gabbard over there. People switching from your party to go over there with Donald Trump. Yo, and I don't understand why they try to play this game with Donald Trump. And especially if you already know your research, if you already see, hey, look, the media covers Donald Trump 87% of the time negatively. Why would I trust anything they have to say? If I want to hear something negative about Donald Trump, I'll go to CNN. But if I want to know the good, the trade-offs, the pros of Donald Trump, I don't go to CNN. I'll go online, right? I'll do my own research. I'll go to his platforms. I'll go to Fox News. Because at the end of the day, no one's 100% bad. Nothing's 100% in this world. Only your death. But I digress. I think I want to play more of this interview with John Fetterman because I found this interview very interesting. So let's take a look.
First Democrats saying, hey, though, we need a secure border. It's a significant issue. And if I thought there was any kinds of issues, and I've been very vigilant throughout, I've been actively involved in those kinds of things, and I've never witnessed those kinds of a thing.
But what do you mean by issues? Like what kind of issues are you talking about? You talking about people letting people in order to get votes?
Well, it's not. There's not that level kinds. I don't think there's that level kinds of organization.
But there is an organization that's moving these people to swing states. There's a significant number of these people that are illegal immigrants that have made their way to swing states. And then there's been calls for amnesty. There's been calls for allowing these people to have a pathway to citizenship and allow them to vote. The fear.
And this is, and it's so funny how like self-interested these Democrats are. And then they sit here with a shield of virtue pretending that, no, we care about the little guy. We care about these migrants. We get no benefit from having these migrants here. No, what you're doing is going to screw over the American people. We already see it with the job report. You have, I don't know how many new jobs and how many of them went to non-Americans. How many of them went to illegals? But you're bragging about the job numbers, which at the time of this video reported another bad job report got reported again. Were you overstating jobs? I'm like, yo, why y'all doing this? and you think everything's hunky-dory and all fine and well, we're going to go through a recession in 2025. I'd rather have Trump in that recession than Kamala Harris, because I believe Kamala Harris will make it even worse. Look at 2020. Look at 2021 when Biden came in. K-shaped recovery. I still have not seen it yet. On paper, it looked like we got a K-shaped recovery, but if you look at all the other things, inflation rate, real wages, price, and you want to blame corporations for that, but not government spending. When conservatives make the same claim that they're making here about illegal immigration, hey, when government spend money, you paying something with those government benefits. It's called inflation, because inflation is tied to government spending, government printing, supply and demand. Oh, no, that's different because America is a world reserve currency. But no, we still create an inflationary result. It's just we're being tampered down because everyone else still respects the dollar as the world reserve currency. But we lost some of that buying power because of the petrodollar. We lost the petrodollar. So, Saudi Arabia no longer excels their oil exclusively in U.S. dollars. Biden let that deal fall through. But you still believe that government should be allowed to spend more money. We're gonna destroy ourselves economically with this stagflation, hyperinflation, whatever you want to call it. Once we lose the world reserve currency, and China, Russia, and then the BRICS, they're coming closely trying to challenge that world reserve status. And this is the bleak economic future that I see if we allow Kamala Harris to win the election, because I don't believe she has the wherewithal to understand the impact that it will have if we lose the world reserve currency status, if the US dollar lose that status. Because you got BRICS out here trying to make a deal with other nations, other developing countries, right? Saying that, hey, we're not going to put no stipulations like the USA does. USA, I heard a story. Kamala Harris, by the way, this is an example of Kamala Harris and how she's going to screw it up. Kamala Harris went to, I think, a country in Africa, some country in Africa, I forget. And she said, we're going to withhold foreign aid funding for your country because we don't believe you have enough LGBTQ rights. And that's a country that don't look favorably on homosexuality, right? While in BRICS, they're like, no, we're just going to loan you money. As long as you pay us back our interest, you're good. It don't matter how you run your country. And that's more appealing to a developing country, especially many of them in Africa, where they're going to go, yeah. And this is why African countries are joining with BRICS, because there's no catch-22 when they lend money to the developing country. They just say, as long as you pay us back in interest, we're good. While the U.S. is, here's the loan. You're going to pay us back in interest, but also you have to run your country like this. There's more strings attached to the U.S. dollar. And this is what them doing this stuff is going to threaten their world reserve currency status. And if we lose that, we'll go through hyperinflation. You thought inflation was bad during the 2022s? It'll get even worse if we lose that last piece of the puzzle that tethers our dollars to something tangible and valuable. And bringing all these people, immigrating all these people, is a drain on our resources. This is the practicality of voting for Donald Trump. But many people don't see it because they're worried about personalities. And that's what the media is trying to distract you with. Instead of the issues, instead of the policies, they want you to distract you with the personalities of the individual, right? I skipped a couple seconds ahead because I believe I already covered this part of the interview with John Fenton and Joe Rogan. So let's continue from this point.
That this will turn all these states into essentially locked blue like California is.
Well, it's immigration is always going to be a tough issue in our nation. I had as a professor in grad school, Alan Simpson, and he was a United States senator. He was Wyoming, and he was actually a pro-choice Republican. I mean, how rare that would be. Well, it doesn't exist now. And he said, "You are never going to have."
And a pro-life Democrat don't really exist now. Like, this is what I'm talking about with this, like, Democrat, like these narratives that Democrats like to say or pretend that only one side is guilty of something that they are saying when they themselves are guilty of it too. And this is why I have this liberal projection fallacy. When a liberal tries to label you something, they're more guilty of the label than you are. It's just a way of distracting from them. And this is what's going on. Oh, you're xenophobic, you're this or that. No, I'm caring about the interests of my people. If I say, hey, look, I don't want no one living in my house. Only my family members, only my bloodline, my family members can live in my house. I don't necessarily hate my neighbors. I hate strangers. I hate Latinos, Mexicans, black people. It's not that. It's just I care about the interests of my people, my family, more than the interests of strangers. right? And this is the same kind of thing that Donald Trump is running his campaign on. That's the same philosophy he has. But Democrats will sit here, right? I'm just reading an article right now. Biden, mega Republicans are the kind of people you like to smack in the A. Is he intentionally trying to hurt Harris? And no one can convince me differently at this point. What the hell's going on with you guys, with you Democrats, right? And this is what I'm talking about. Like, you see these Democrats they only care about power and control. And the reason why they all vote in lockstep is because that's all their goal is, power and control. Biden lost power and control of his party. Now what he's doing, saying offhanded statements that's going to hurt the messaging of the Harris campaign. Either unintentionally or intentionally. Many say intentionally. Right? You highlight the political incentive, the political interest of why Democratic Party is going out of their way to have illegals in their country, going out of their way, making their cities, sanctuary states, and a Democrat can't answer you straight. Because they know what they're doing is going against the best interest of the American people. And this is why the union workers are going for Trump. This is why working class people are shifting to Trump. This is why rural America is heading to Trump. This is why a lot of black and minority people are going towards Trump. But a lot of these liberals, these condescending liberals, will sit here and point in your face and saying you're voting against your best interest. When the Democrats are the party of the rich, the famous. That's the Democratic branding. While Donald Trump represents the branding of, hey, I'm just a common American, everyday American that just happens to be a billionaire. I want an America that's good for everybody, regardless of your income bracket. That's the kind of America Donald Trump wants to make. While Democrats are sitting here saying, "No, we want an America only where low income, poor people can benefit at the expense of other Americans." That's not a good deal. Part of the deal, right? You have to have a win-win situation. What's the win for rich people to give a large percentage of their wealth to the government? How the government is going to use it? Trump's answer, here, I'm gonna make a cost-effective action so where the money that's getting taken from you rich people or taken from Americans that pay taxes, it's used effectively that will give an actual result. CDC, how you're the CDC, yet when you created, we had less chronic diseases, and over time we have more chronic diseases ever since you got instituted. And we're using taxpayer dollars to continue funding this institution that's technically on the metrics failing its job. That don't make sense. And you wonder why Donald Trump liked the Elon Musk idea of the cost cutting committee. Recently, I heard Ron Paul wants to be part of that committee as well. Oh my God. We need that. When something's not working, you got to fix it. You got to change it. Who's going to be the reformer? That's what I care about as a voter, as an individual. Who's going to be the reformer? Not Harris. Harris is not the reformer. Harris is the same way Joe Biden was in 2020. He's the same old, same old. I don't want the same old, same old. I'm willing to take the risk that something can go wrong, but it's better to try to do something new and different instead of sitting there in hell with the same damn results. And that's what Kamala Harris represents. And I can't get behind that. But I digress. I want to end off the video with that. That's just my closing arguments right there. These people benefit from illegal immigration. The Democrats' party is only about themselves, their party, and their interests, not the American interest. At least with Donald Trump, his interest is aligned with the American interest. And this is why many people are making a logical, rational policy choice with Donald Trump, not Kamala Harris. But I digress. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I appreciate you guys watching to the end of the video. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.